I'd like to welcome you to the buylists.com webinar that we're presenting today. Steve Belmonte, CEO of AccuZIP, will be presenting. I'm going to just go over some few kind of housekeeping items. First, as far as the webinar, this webinar is being recorded. So if you're having problems viewing the webinar or anything with your screen resolution, a couple different options for you. There is a Zoom option. It should be in the upper gray toolbar of your GoToWebinar toolbar, and you can kind of play with those settings for zooming into full screen, actual size, or scale to fit. But the webinar is being recorded, so you will receive the webinar in a couple different formats. At the end of the presentation, we're going to email you the recorded webinar, and we will also email you the Canva slide presentation. So if you have to leave early, don't worry about that as well, and we'll have you taken care of. There's going to be some poll questions in between the chat. We have 3 poll questions, in the webinar. So stay tuned for those and make sure that you do vote during those poll questions. The webinar will probably go, I would expect the full hour. It might go under the hour. We have time for Q&As at the very end. And if you have questions during the webinar, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll try to get to them. We'll also send out a list of all the Q&As post-webinar as well. As of now, everybody is in listen-only mode. So again, your questions will go in chat. If I don't answer them during the webinar, they'll be answered at the end or post-webinar. So with that said, again, welcome, and I am going to turn this over to Steve Belmonte.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you all for joining. It's a full group. Actually pretty impressed. We've been doing this now for, I think this is our 31st year, and I'm still as excited each and every day I wake up to be part of this great company, and really do appreciate and value all of you as customer partners. And hopefully we're writing some technologies that make you some money and help your business grow. This is just another one that we're very excited to show you. This has been over a year in development, probably closer to 2 years. And so I'm going to go ahead and start the presentation. And again, thank you all for joining. So what is buylists.com? So we created a very secure, very easy to use user interface, user experience, and a beautiful back end that allows you to research any list you want free of charge. We've created an experience that requires no minimums. You can literally buy one name and address if you want, so we don't have any minimums. And it makes it super easy for you or your customers to come and buy lists. So we've created this site so it's a very generic area for you to send your customers. So you're not actually sending them to AccuZIP.com. Your customers won't know who we are, nor do we want them to know who we are. We want it to be a safe place for you to send your customers to buy mailing lists. And you can brand it, and we're going to show you that a little bit later. Brand it with your colors and your logos. With this new service, it also follows our long tradition of an exclusive price lock guarantee. Now, what that means to you is you can depend on the price you pay from the day you sign up until for the foreseeable future. So that what that does is with your price lock guarantee, and not too many things in this world where your price is locked and it doesn't go up forever, as long as your account is in good standing. So you can increase your net profits and your revenue, all along with keeping your costs stable. So let's go ahead and, oh, by the way, with this technology, you control the price that your customers will pay, and your deposits when they go to checkout are automatically deposited into your bank account. The list types that we offer are consumer, new mover, new homeowner, business, and new business, and they can all be purchased at the same time. So what I'd like to do is show you some demos on how to create certain list types. And the first list type I'm going to create will be,
Real quick, let's, if you don't mind, just so we get a kind of a gauge of our audience, let's go ahead and launch our first poll.
Oh, good idea.
Okay, so I'm going to launch the poll. Everybody should be able to see it and vote. So you're going to see it on your screen right now. And the question is, does your company purchase mailing lists? So please select one, yes or no. All right, so let's see here. We're collecting responses. Wow, you guys are fast. 95% have already voted in under 30 seconds. Fast fingers, or we still have your attention. So yes or no, whether you're purchasing mailing lists, regardless if you're purchasing them, you know, outsourcing them, getting them wherever you're getting them from. So that's great. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll, and then I'm going to share the results. So out of this audience, and Steve, you should see this as well, we have 94% of you are purchasing mailing lists currently, or your company is purchasing mailing lists, and only 6% of you are not.
Cool. Well, hopefully we can change the minds of the 6, because, you know, a lot of times it's difficult to get into this space, to actually understand it, and above all, to trust it. And, you know, obviously we've been doing this for 31 years, and hopefully we've gained your trust. We started SOC 2 HIPAA and high-tech compliance many, many years ago. Kristen, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's almost 10 years we've been doing that, or almost close to that. Yep. And it gets very difficult every year, but we continue to do that. And we, I believe, we're one of the first, if not the first, to do that in our industry for the postal industry. So it was, I think, in our space, you know, manufacturing. So very proud of that. So let's show you how to create some lists. So right now I'm going to show you how to create a list based on 1 or more zip codes. And so in this particular case, I'm going to create a list based on 2 different zip codes. We'll start with 77573, and then we'll add 77586. So as you enter your zip codes in and press enter, they'll just magically appear underneath, and you can have as many as you want. And then from this point, we're going to go ahead and choose unique addresses only. And I want to not have any PO boxes, so I'm going to omit those. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. Notice as you're clicking, which you can do research as often as you want, it's free. You notice how the list counts are updating in real time. And check out all of these demographics. There are a number of them that you can choose from. Next, we're going to choose from household estimated income. And I'm going to go ahead and choose $75,000 to $149,999. So let's scroll down to that. And as you do this, notice the list counts update in real time. And then we're going to go to home market value, and we'll choose homes between 300,000 and 400,000. And then I want to limit it down to just 3-bedroom homes. So you can type in your number of bedrooms and add that. And you can add, you know, 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, and whatever. You can buy the list for single or multiple, and then click checkout. Now, when you check out, it's going to give you kind of a summarized view, and then you click continue to payment. And this is where that stripe comes in. So we'll give you more information on this later, but this will tie directly into your bank. So you will get your own Stripe unique information. We'll put that in on our secure backend. So every time your customers go to buy a list, you're going to get your payout. And it'll happen, you know, as soon as they do it. And I think there's as far as the number of days, I think it's 1 or 2 days that the payouts come. So anyways, that's as easy as it is to create a list based on zip code. Now let's go to creating a list by radius. Now by radius, you go ahead and click on the radius around an address. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and do it around our office building in League City, Texas. So it's 2450 South Shore Boulevard. It came up with the drop down. I went ahead and clicked it. I'm going to go ahead and do 5-mile radius. So we'll go ahead and you can either use the bar or type in your radius. The screen automatically resizes so you can see the whole thing. And now I want all unique addresses. This will be similar to the one we just did previously. So we're going to buy consumer lists with the same demographics as we did earlier, 75,000 to 149.99, and then we'll do the home market value at 300,000 to 3,999. and then we'll add in our 3 bedrooms, and then we'll go ahead and check out. So if all you did was use this to research, and then once you defined your list with your customer, or they define their list, they can go right to checkout. And again, here's your summary view of your checkout. So now we're going to get a little more complicated. So now we're going to generate a list by radius, but now we're going to do it on more than one list type. With our service, you can buy all of the list types. You can do consumer, new mover, new homeowner, business, and new business all in one checkout, and it generates one list. So again, we're going to do it by radius. This time we're going to choose our California office at 3216 El Camino Real. Notice that the drop-down automatically identifies that. And then we're going to go ahead and choose our radius, 15 miles. And then in this particular case, we're going to go ahead and choose unique addresses only. So we want all of the records within that radius. And now we're going to go to business, and we're going to choose by SIC. Check out all of these demographics for businesses. There's quite a few. So you can really narrow it down to even expenses, computer expenses, electrical expenses, gender, Fortune 1000, and so forth. And in this particular case, we're going to go to SIC, and we're going to click on it. And then all you need to do is type in the description, like in this case, pizza, and it'll give you those SIC codes. You select the one you want and click it, and then your accounts will update. So now we have 55,337 on the consumer side, and then 6 on the business side. As you can see, you can do this for all of the list types. And then you go to checkout, and it gives you your summary. And the prices that you see here, the 3 cents, those are the prices, those are not for your customers, so you dictate what prices you want to charge them. Now, this is one of the more exciting selects, by carrier route. Now, of the 96%, Kristen, that actually buy lists, this is a very unique type of search. Typically, you would know that a by carrier route one would be an EDDM search. That means you'd be getting all of the addresses within a zip code and a carrier route. And you wouldn't necessarily get the addresses, you would just get a count. So you could do an EDDM mailing. With this particular one, we've created a unique feature that you can actually buy carrier route. And in this case, I'm going to choose carrier routes around our South Shore building in League City. So as soon as you type in the address, notice that it highlighted the carrier automatically around our building. And now you can zoom down to the street level, and you can actually just click on each carrier route you want. So you just take your mouse and click, and those are the carrier route boundaries that your carrier delivers. So notice as you click, the zip code and carrier route list expand, and you can remove any of those just by clicking on the X. So in this particular case, we're going to do unique addresses only. And there's your count, 5,205, and then we're going to go to checkout. That's how easy it is. Now, in this case, it's actually creating a list of names and addresses based on just those carrier routes and whatever demographics you chose. So if you chose those carrier routes, you could also limit it to certain household income or home market value or number of bedrooms. So if you were doing business with a realtor and they just sold a 3-bedroom home in a certain price range, you may want to look for other 3-bedroom homes within their price range around their area or their farm. So this is a great utility for you to sit there and do some cool researches. So now what I'd like to do is open up a poll again, Kristen, for before we head to the branding of the site.
Okay, excellent. Yes, we will go to our next poll. And you should all see it on your screen here. And the question is, what is the monthly average mailing list purchase volume? So for those of you that answered yes to the first poll question, what is the monthly average mailing list purchase volume for your company? And while they're answering those, Steve, I'm just going to pop a couple questions in the chat. Doesn't need to be answered now, but just so that you're aware, we can go over them at the end. Some of them I'm answering in in the questions.
Yes, so one of the questions was, let me just scroll up, there's quite a few.
We can go through these at the end too if you, I think that'd be
Okay.
better.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let's see here. We have, all right, polling in progress. Again, 93%, 94% have voted. So I'm going to go ahead and close this poll and let's share the results. So Steve, I'll let you go ahead and review these results and talk about them.
Okay, let me see here. They didn't come up on my screen. Go ahead and reveal the results. I don't see them here.
Let's see here. Terry, do you see the results? Okay, Terry is seeing them, so hopefully the audience is seeing them. But let me read them off to you. So we have 81% is less than 100,000. 8% is between 100,000 and 500,000. 1% is more than 500,000, and 10% is not applicable. They're not purchasing mailing lists.
Okay, good. You know, and I find that actually those numbers to be right on, because today your lists are typically smaller and more highly targeted. So again, this buylist.com site is absolutely perfectly made for that, because there are no minimums. You can literally buy one, like I said earlier, and you can really target who you want to send to. Highly targeted, accurate lists. So now let's talk about branding, because obviously we want to encourage you to send your customers to buylist.com. So you're not actually sending them to www.buylist.com. You'll be sending them to your own brand name. So if you're in the example I'm about to show you, this particular brand is Acme. So it would be acme.buylist.com. Or it would be, you know, your name of your company, like abc.list.com. And as you can see, you can change the color. So you're going to get this interface where you can just drag it around, choose your color, and then you'll click copy styles and send that to us, and we'll put it in on the back end in your profile. So then at that point, when they log into your acme.buylist.com, they'll see your brand and your color scheme, not ours. You can also add your logo. So in this example, at the top there, you just simply point to a URL, that's your logo, it puts it up at the top for you, and then you can go ahead and change your colors so they match your logo. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and change it to yellow, and then we're going to change the primary offset, which will be our text. There you go. Not too bad, not too shabby. So you can change it to the full spectrum of whatever you need to match your brand precisely. Now remember earlier where we had selected two list types. You can choose all of them in one download. And in this example, I'm going to show you what the data looks like. So once you download the data, the first column indicates where the list came from. So you can see which list came from the consumer database, which list came from the new homeowner, new mover, or the business database. And then you can see along the top all of the consistent address and zip code information, and then all of your demographics for each list type. So of course, business has their SIC codes. All of the rest of them have their own demographic information. But the beauty of it is it's all in one list, download, comma separated. So then you can bring it into whatever program you use. Hopefully you're using AccuZIP 6, and just bring it right in. And then you can utilize the data in there and do your even deeper selects. So we give you other demographics than what you chose, but so to identify that particular record. So as you can see here, we're showing the age, the income, residency, and you're getting phone numbers where applicable. You're getting Latin longs where applicable for the businesses, and we're giving you the gender and a lot of other demographic information from the demographics and selects that you chose. So it's AccuZIP on the back end, but you know that. your customers don't know that. So we don't want you, we wouldn't expect you to send your customers to our website, AccuZIP.com, and buy mailing lists. That's why we created buylist.com, that you can brand with your own name, .buylist.com, your own brand colors, your own logo, and you're buying it from a trusted source that's been around for 31 years. We're very reputable in the industry. We're SOC 2, HIPAA, and high-tech compliant. You have a guaranteed price lock and a guaranteed list quality. So if for some reason you're unhappy with the list, we will give you a refund. We know that, of course, you're not going to abuse that. We trust each other, but we want you to be happy. So we put a lot of, on the back end, we put a lot of work into a good, solid list quality so that when you buy the list, that you believe in it and you can utilize it for marketing and making money. So the price lock guarantee is special because typically in the list world, depending on what type of list you're buying, how specialized it is, your prices can go up. With ours, your prices will stay locked and they're flat. So all of the list types, consumer, new mover, new homeowner, business, and new business, all of the prices are the same per name, and they're flat. So in this case, your price is 3 cents a name. You're welcome to charge your customer whatever you want. You provide us with the prices you want to charge on each list type and how much you want them to pay for multiple use of that list. We will put that in on the back end for you, and then voila, when they go to checkout in Stripe, you will get your funds deposited into your bank account, the difference between the 3 cents and whatever you're charging. So the one thing I mentioned earlier is the prices are flat, which I think is really important to understand. These are the volumes: 270 million consumers, 160 million homeowners, 60,000 plus new homeowners per week, 15 million businesses, and 40,000 plus new businesses each week. You can search by zip, city, county, state, radius, or by carrier route, and then add in your comprehensive demographics. Our next release we're working on now, which we're super excited about, we're adding in over 2,000 additional demographics to what we have today. So you'll be able to search on virtually every type of demographic and narrow it down as far as you want. There are no minimums, like I mentioned earlier, and we're super excited about that. As all of you know, you've been with us for a while, 31 years in business. It is really important. I don't know how many understand or have read our core values. You'll all get a slide presentation of this so you can read them in more depth. But these core values have been in place since we started our company. So integrity is extremely important. We want you to be able to trust our brand, and that's why we're doing this buylist.com. We feel that if you're buying mailing lists and you're using our technology or our desktop products or AccuTrace or whatever, and you've trusted our brand, that hopefully that trust will convey through and you'll start purchasing your mailing list through AccuZIP. So Kristen, let's go ahead and open it up. Questions?
Okay. Let's do our last poll, and then yes, we've got several questions. I've been trying to answer them separately in the question box, but I will just give them to you verbally. But let's go ahead and launch our last poll.
Okay,
right.
Cool.
And after being 30 minutes in, 24 minutes in, hopefully you'll be able to answer this, but if not, maybe after we answer the rest of your questions. Okay, so I've launched the poll, and the question is, would you be interested in switching to buylist.com, a trusted source with the only price lock and list quality guarantee? Please select one answer. Yes, no, maybe, I need more information to make an informed decision. And if your answer is no, and this is important to us, please email us at info@buylist.com with the reasons. we want to make sure we know we've only given you 25 minutes of information. So we want to make sure all of your questions are answered so that you feel confident in using this service, which we are confident is the best list purchasing service out there for ease of use, as Steve mentioned, custom branding, price lock guarantee, the flat fee, and all of those other reasons. So if you want to go ahead and vote on that, that would be great.
Yeah, and Kristen, I think it's key that, we've been around for a long time. We're trusted, and you can trust the fact that the lists that you're buying from us are good quality. And we do everything in our power to make sure of that.
Okay, so let's go ahead, and it looks like almost everybody's voted. So I'm going to go ahead and close it, share the results. And the results are, let's see here, we have 31% of you said yes, 1% said no, and they'll email with the reasons, and 64% of you said maybe, I need more information to make an informed decision.
Good, excellent. And I would expect nothing less, since you all are savvy business people. So let's go ahead and answer some questions.
Okay, perfect. So let's see here. Let me scroll up, and I've answered some of you. You should see the questions box. So if I've answered them and I've sent the question to, or the answer to all, but I'm just going to kind of go through them, Steve. We have a half an hour, so I think it'd be great to have you answer them. So
sure.
The first question is the data already CAS certified, and does it contain homeowner names?
The answer is yes to both questions. And let me actually dig a little bit deeper. We are writing some technology now so that the data is not only CAS certified regularly, but it's also processed through NCOA link on a weekly basis. As you know, and we're going to try to get that down to include daily delete daily basis, but on a weekly basis for the first run at it. We're also going to be running it through some of our DES, or data enhancement services, so that we can have the cleanest list possible for everyone. We'll also be adding in a near future release no stat information, so you can eliminate records that have no stat values. So we're concerned more with you receiving a quality list versus a quantity list. So if we can eliminate no stat hits, meaning that the record's perfect, zip plus 4 coded, deliverable, other than the fact that it had a no stat hit, meaning that it's not deliverable for some reason identified by the post office, like the PO box is down, or the box is down, or there's a dog in the yard, or for some other reason that it can't be delivered, vacancies, whatever. Those types of selects will be added to this existing interface. So right now, yes, it's a great list, CAS certified, clean, but we're going to continuously add more checks to give you more information that you can select before you check out.
Okay, great. Let me go through, let me look for another question here. Let's see here. Is one of the filters for choosing lists county? Some organizations we service want to restrict their outreach to only the county or counties they serve. Radius or carrier route search will cross county lines.
Great question. Yes, so you can search by zip code, by city, or by county, or by state. So you can actually choose, San Luis Obispo County, Los Angeles County, and it will only give you addresses within that county. You're correct. Anything by radius would cross a county line, or could potentially cross county lines. And remember, the entire idea behind this is not quantity, it's quality. So like I said, we're going to try to limit what you get to records that we know for a fact are going to be delivered. Because remember, we write the other technology. We write all of our CAS, our NCOA link, our pre-sort PAVE, gold certification. We write all of it in-house. We don't buy it from someone. So we control all of that technology. So why not use that same technology to make these lists the best quality they can possibly be and identify these?
Okay, so let's see here. There were several questions about, does this particular service do pre-sorting? I answered that. You would want, Steve, you can speak to that too, but you would actually want to use our AccuZIP software. But go ahead, Steve.
So the short answer is the way we developed this is we wanted it to be very generic so that you would be able to send your customers here to simply buy a list. And then they give that list to you to do your pre-sorting using our software, AccuZIP 6, or however you do the pre-sorts today. If you want to yourself, you can go to AccuZIP.com. We have an area on AccuZIP.com where you can buy a mailing list, and that same interface will pre-sort it. That's so it's on our AccuZIP.com. But we don't necessarily want you sending your customers to our AccuZIP.com, because obviously there may be a conflict of interest, right? Because we sell mailing software and they're using your company to provide mailing services. So we don't want your customers to go to our website and buy our software. We want them to use your products and your services that you offer. That's why we created buylist.com. It's an area it's kind of like a safe zone, right? For you to send your customers. That's why we created it. We already sell a mailing list if you go to AccuZIP.com, but we never anticipated you to send your customers there. So this is an area that you can feel comfortable and safe sending them. And it's going to be your brand anyways, because it's going to be your name.bylist.com.
Okay, and along those same lines, we have a couple questions I'm going to add, kind of bundle them together. Is number one, is there a setup charge? And number two, is there a fee for setting up the personalized website?
All great questions. So we give you the link to personalize your brand and your logo. There is no charge for any of the setup. So so once you set up your brand, your logo and all that, you'll just click on that little copy link. You'll provide that on an email that Kristen gave you, and then we'll just paste that into your back end profile, and then you're already set up. You're good to go. There will be some steps to set up the Stripe account, so we'll give you those instructions. So you'll go into Stripe, you'll create a new account if you don't already have one. Even if you already have one, you could set up a separate one within your Stripe specifically for the buy lists. And then you provide us with that unique key, and we plug it into your back end profile. And from that point on, you receive, anytime somebody buys a list, you get deposits into your account.
And as a follow-up question, somebody asked, to clarify, we can have a custom branded interface that we can send out to customers, which is yes. And if so, what pricing do they see?
They see the pricing that you let us know. So we give you can have your own pricing for consumer, for new mover, new homeowner, business, and new business. So you give us the prices that you want to charge your customer, knowing that your cost is 3 cents a name. You also give us the multi-use cost. So if you want your customers to be able to use that list more than once, you let us know how much you want to charge for each list type for multiple use. We plug all of those numbers into your profile, and you're set. So they go to checkout and they don't see our prices, they see your prices because it's your.com. So the beauty is you don't have, there's no effort on your part to set up the payment method, the payment technology that we've built in, the user interface and the user experience is just a super easy UI to use. We've done all of that work, and we've created this specifically so you can either use it yourself or send your customers and let them use it.
Okay, so let's see here. Are the addresses run through the national do not mail list to remove those addresses?
That is a phenomenal question. And remember, I was talking about earlier things that we're doing, like the demographics. We're adding over 2,000 demographics. One of the, and then the no stat. Remember, I mentioned the no stat, where we're going to identify no stats. The exact same thing with the do not mail. We already licensed that data, and we'll be able to scrub out or remove do not mail. We're also, some of the other nicety features we're adding is suppression lists, so you can provide either addresses and or zip plus 4 codes that we can suppress out names that you get or download from us. We also want to hear from you. If you have ideas, once you start utilizing the technology, that's what we do. That's what we do best. We write in all the technology. We don't charge you anything for that. It just makes our services better because we want you to use it and we want you to trust it.
Okay, a couple more questions on the custom branded sites. So if a client goes to the website and purchases a list, can they download it, or do we get a notification to go and download the file? If a customer goes to our website, will we get a notification, and if so, and when?
Okay, so these are feature enhancements that you would, in other words, if they go to your website, would we send you a notification? That could be set up, but it's not set up today. If they purchase a list, you are notified. So for example, if they go into your.com and they actually go and buy a list, then you absolutely get notified. You'll get notified of that receipt through your Stripe. That comes to you automatically. They will receive emails from the buylist.com that they actually bought the list and to download the list. So they would download the list, or when they receive the email with the download link, they're going to receive that from buylist.com. They would forward it to you. Now, we could easily add in to your profile to always be forwarded any list that someone else buys from your domain. So that would be something that would be very easy to add into your profile, so we could have one or multiple email addresses, and when anyone makes a purchase, to send you the download link as well.
Okay, good answer. Let's see, lots of questions here. Let's see here. So we talked, okay, several questions on, and I've answered those, but we can kind of talk about it because if one person has the question, likely more than one does. Steve, if you want to go over the difference between the one-time use and the multi-use pricing, and several kind of repeat questions of, so the customer can only use the list once. How does that work if you're allowing them to download the list?
Right, so they're downloading the list, and if they're downloading it for multiple use, it's basically the honor system, for a lack of better words.
Yeah, and that's the way it is. There is a little bit of check and balances. There are some seed records in there. If you suspect that somebody is doing that, but that's with almost all list brokers, is it's honor system, but there's some seed records that can kind of detect repeat patterns.
Right.
Okay, and let's see here. What does the training consist of for learning how to use the dashboard, etc.? Is there a link where we can look at the custom branding options?
Absolutely. So Kristen has a list right now of people, if you're interested in learning more. I think 65% were, and then there was a smaller percentage that would like to do it. For everybody that is interested, send an email. Kristen, you can provide that email with what you would like is your .com, like the first part of it, like Acme, and then we just, .buylist.com. And then what we can do, Kristen, is we can set up their initial profile and then send them a link that would allow them to start changing their color scheme and adding their logo. We'll provide a cheat sheet on how to do that. It's very, very simple. And then that'll include the instructions on where to send that, when you click on that copy button, where to send that information to. So it'll be very straightforward. And initially, if you just keep it the same and you don't provide pricing up front, remember the pricing that you will have by default is our pricing, 3 cents. So when we set it up initially, you can go there and order lists, and then the Stripe payout that is 3 cents a name. But as soon as you give us the information, that pricing on that same domain would increase. It would go up to whatever you wanted it to. And then with that price increase, you would have your Stripe account information would be provided to us. So it would happen simultaneously. So we would set up the split on the price, on the Stripe account. We would put that in your back end profile. So you guys are getting paid. And then all of that would happen automatically. So we would get paid our 3 cents and you would get paid whatever you raised it by. So if you charge 6 cents a name, you would get the split. You'd get the 3 cents. If you charge 10 cents a name, you would get 7 cents a name. We would get our 3 cents automatically. And all of that accounting is tracked within Stripe and its dashboard.
Got it. Okay, a couple other great questions if you're still up for it. Let's see here. If my customer gets back 5,000 names in a list based on their selection criteria, but only wants to buy 1,000, how do they accomplish that?
That's a great question. And the interface actually allows you to do that. Can I close this and stop sharing, and then I come back and present, and I can go right to the actual web page and show that?
Sure. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and, okay, so yes, go ahead and click on stop showing.
Okay. Okay, did that stop?
It did.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go in and I'll show that exact function. Let's see here. All righty. So let me go ahead and start showing again. So I'll go ahead and hold on a second here. See if I can just limit it to my, okay. Do you see my screen?
We do.
Okay, so for example, if I did, let's do oops. I'll just stick with so I'm adding a couple zip codes. Okay, so now I'm going to choose unique addresses. So what it does is it gives us our counts right here, records available for each different zip code. So all I do is I change this number here. Let's say I only want 500 of these, and I want 250 of these, and I want 1,000 of these. As you can see, the counts are right here, and they're automatically updated. So when you go to checkout, you're only buying the 1,750 records. Pretty
Perfect.
cool.
Yep. Okay, lots of questions on if we can, let's see here, if you guys are ready to go, yes, we'll send you instructions and what to do on next steps with that. Somebody asked, do you have a white labeled training videos on how to use the platform as a customer that we can use on our website? That's certainly something we can create.
Sure.
Let's see here. Okay. Do you have to have our bank information to use this service?
No, absolutely not. So basically, you're going to set up everything securely through Stripe. So that's between you and Stripe and your bank. We don't know any of that. Stripe is going to provide you with a GUID. That GUID is a secret key that is linked to you in Stripe. We take that secret key, we put it in our back-end proprietary database, which is secure. That key doesn't link to your bank. It is a direct key that is used to pay you through Stripe. So once your customer checks out, Stripe handles all of the funds into your bank. So the customer pays Stripe, we dictate, Stripe sends us the 3 cents a name, Stripe sends you whatever you charge for your thing over and above the 3 cents. And that all of that auditing, that the bank information will be in Stripe. They will make the payouts to you. You also control the refunds. So any refunds that happen all get controlled by you through Stripe. Any refunds from us to you get controlled by us through Stripe. And Stripe is a very large privately owned company. One of the best out there.
Yes. Okay, we've got another question. And again, if your questions are not being answered, I'm trying to get to them as quick as I can. There's lots of them, which is great. Let's see here. Will the top domain of buylist.com be online and available? I can answer this. In other words, if they forget to add the subdomain, what will they see? So yes, we have buylist.com wildcarded. So if they forget the subdomain, they will just see the generic buylist.com site that you all saw, and just has references to buylist.com, not AccuZIP, and they can purchase their list there with the base pricing that's on buylist.com.
Right, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to instruct our development team, if they don't have a domain, if they don't have like the Acme part, like the name of your company to go in, then we're not going to allow them to buy a list. So we want to lock them out because we want them to go to your domain. Does that make sense? We don't want them to go. We want them to go through you. That's the whole point of this. So we're not going to support just buylist.com without a domain that has been onboarded. So, you know, if you didn't, if for example, if Acme acme.buylist.com did not exist, then they would not be able to buy a list. This way it protects your interests and you give them the domain, and if they mess it up and they type in just buylist.com, they're not going to be able to buy a list. Because obviously if they buy a list through buylist.com, you're not getting when they pay, none of the things going into your bank account because they're not going to your domain.
Makes sense.
And the beauty is, and I don't know, we should add a poll question, how long have you been with AccuZIP? But if any of you have been with us for any amount of time, you know how responsive we are on emails, on chat, on anything that needs to be resolved. We are Johnny on the spot. We want you to be successful. This, like I said earlier, we would love to sell you all the names and addresses that you can consume, but that doesn't do us any good if the quality is not there. So that's why we're adding in all of this other stuff, the no stat, you know, reason codes, all of this stuff, so you can identify a truly good address, not one that's vacant or one that doesn't receive mail. Because even though an address is ZIP+4 coded and has a delivery point and DPV confirms, that does not mean that it's going to be mailable necessarily. And then that's the opposite typically of a list company, because that's the business of a list company, is to sell you as many names and addresses as they can, obviously to get as much mail in the mail stream as they can, right? Our goal, we do many things, right? We don't just sell the mailing list. So we want you to have a good quality list, and we want to earn your trust. And I think we've done that over 31 years, and that's why we brought this aboard.
Okay, we've got another question. Let's see here. Can we charge different prices for consumer versus business, etc.?
Yes. So the pricing can be dictated based on list type, not only for a single list, and you can also do the same for multiple lists. So each list type has its own pricing structure, single and multi.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, is there a way to charge the client for 1,000, say at 6 cents each, but if they get 10,000, we charge 5 cents, for example, like a tiered
So
price?
the old, yeah, that's actually very interesting. Right now, the pricing, well, when we created it, is flat, no matter how many, uh, for every list type. But again, the back end can be modified to support whatever structure. I like that structure. So you want to reduce your price based on volume, higher for lower volumes and lower for higher volumes. So right now the back end does not support that, but that would be good feedback to add in, and it wouldn't take much effort.
Okay.
Actually, I think that might be, I think if we did a poll right now, Kristen, I honestly think that might be a must-have feature, right?
Yes.
Whether or not they wanted to charge the same. So I think that's a great suggestion. And this is what we love, because we have a lot of minds, smart people in the room, providing good ideas that we can make the product service better.
Yes, and I think that's exactly what you're going to find. So all of these questions that you're posing in here, a lot of them are really, really great ideas. So it's something that we can easily implement into the UI and build in. Let me go and Rob, let's see here. I think it's, I don't know how you pronounce your last name. Rob Special was asking some questions, and some other ones did. I just want to make it clear can you purchase saturation lists, and does this do the pre-sorting? It's a clear difference. This is just for purchasing lists. So that is just what this buylist.com service is for.
Right.
So it is not.
Why don't we do this? You want me to show them the one where it does the other one, or not? We're limited to this.
I wouldn't. I
Okay.
think it's clear, just as long as we make, and that was kind of more towards the beginning. I was answering the questions in chat, but I want to make sure you knew I didn't skip over you. So this is for purchasing lists. It's data is what you're getting. The AccuZIP software or our pay per use service will actually do the pre-sorting. You can purchase lists through that as well. But this is purchasing data. And as Steve mentioned, it's for the 96% of you that are purchasing your mail list from somewhere else. You want to be purchasing it from buylist.com, or your customers, you want them purchasing it from your domain.buylist.com or your company.buylist.com. So that's what this particular service is for.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. So whatever fees or that you're charging today for lists, you can make more revenue, obviously, because you're going to charge for not only what we're charging, you're making that difference on whatever you want to charge. So your fees you can actually generate more revenue with this service, depending on how you get your leads now and what you pay for them today. And you can do all the research in real time, or let your customers do the research and then give you the demographics and the information that they want.
Okay, and let's see here. I think we have time for just a couple more questions. And I think, Steve, you can probably get creative with an answer on this one. Is there a way to differentiate on the site if a client is purchasing the list or if we are purchasing the list? I have an idea on that.
That's a great question, and obviously we don't want to make it too easy, right? Because we don't want your client to be able to do the same thing. So to be honest with you, I'd like to hear your answer, Kristen. The short answer is the service was not made for that. So when you give us your pricing, that's what's going to show up on your .com, right? Theoretically, we could set up a GUID like a 16, the 32 byte GUIDs.buylist.com and provide that to you secretively. So that price would be the price, the 3 cents. So you could just go to that and order your list all you want, because then you're just paying 3 cents a name, period. So everybody could get that one. And then you provide your customer your own .com. That would be how I would probably handle it, Kristen. Something that's very secure that we could pass to them, and we could do that. That could be one that we could give to everybody.
Cool, that makes sense. Okay, do the lists have an expiration date, like 365 days?
No. Nope. So you can download the list, like I said, and pay the multi-use one. It's on the honor system, of course, and you can run it through our CAS and NCOA services that you have with our AccuZIP 6 and utilize it that way to keep it current. Obviously, the benefit of this is getting the most current data, because our data is updated every month. So, and then along with that, we're running all of our tests on it ourselves, so that when you download the data, you're getting the most current data that is deliverable, which will include that no stat information, the deceased, apartment of Penn, all of the other benefits of the technologies that we write, we're going to apply to these. So good. Great questions, Kristen.
Yes. So I think we've got, they keep coming in. So what we will do, I think we've answered kind of the majority. I've tried to pick out the ones where we had more than one person asking the same questions. And it looks like some people are kind of getting into the nitty gritty, which is great, because that means that you are wanting to use the service. So what I would suggest at this point, since we're about 4 minutes out, is I have a list of all of the questions that you guys have asked, which, like Steve said, if there's 60-something% that still had questions and wanted more information, that's fantastic. What we're going to do is come up with an entire Q&A sheet that our dev team and support team and sales teams will go through all of these questions so that we give you the accurate answers. And that will be sent to you along with the recording of this webinar and the slideshow that we talked about in the beginning. If you explicitly answered yes, I think, which was 30%, then we'll also include, and we've got it on the screen here. You can email help@buylists.com or info@buylists.com. Both of those will get to us, and we can get you set up right away. But I want to let you know, and I would say probably we're pretty quick, as you guys all probably know, on getting stuff out. I would say give us at least 1 business day. Today's Wednesday, maybe 2 by Friday. You think that's realistic, Steve, to get them the answers to all of these questions?
Sure. No, that would be fine. And we want you to send us your initial .com if you're really interested, like that first part of the domain, Acme part, and then we can get that reserved for you, because we don't want to have them duplicated. And then there you go. And then we'll also provide a generic one, so you can go in, like I said, that GUID.buylist.com that you can utilize, so you can order your own list at cost, basically. And then you can set your price for your customers and give them that domain. So send us your domains, send us any questions, and we'll get them answered quickly.
Yes, fantastic. And thank you for being such a, we had a great retention rate too. Hardly anybody dropped out, which is fantastic. Unheard of for webinars, pretty much. So thank you for being such a engaged audience, answering the polling questions. That helps us as well. And asking all of these questions, which to me as a presenter means that you're excited about the service. So that's really exciting for us. With that said, I don't have anything else from me. Once I stop the meeting, it'll stop the recording. Steve, did you have any last minute things you want to say?
I just love you all, man. Thank you for all making. We're only successful because our customer partners are there. So we work hard to make you happy and make you money. And thank you all for being our valued customers.
Absolutely. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for your time. Time is valuable. Bye-bye.